Now, we are also, well, let me leave it at that, because I don't want to give away all the good news of being in the budget, but there is some other good news in the budget. It's not all about cities and towns as much as I love you, but there are other choices and other things that we must support, consistent with our view of the right role of government. I think that the thing to do here, though, is to be mindful of those choices, and the fact that the legislators have to make those as well. To their great credit, you know, there's a lot of noise about when we clash. A lot of reporting about when we clash. In fact, the legislature has been asked by this administration to take hard vote after hard vote after hard vote. And though we clash when I ask them, they take the vote. They take the vote. And I appreciate that. And this is going to be hard, and there'll be some clashing, but at the end of the day, I think they will take the vote. And we have to encourage them to do so. So, Jay will come back to you on the second point.
Governor, I want to thank you for your commitment to education. I think your group's been great, been helpful in most of our communities. Chapter 70 and those types of issues, I think we have probably 60 to 70% of the social budget go to education.
Yes.
And it's critical for our communities that you support that and do what you've been doing. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
On the other hand,
yes. So you can stop now, too.
as a selectman, I'm chairman of the board of selectmen for the town of Hanover. I will be going into negotiations with my police contract, and the cuts that we took on the Quinn bill really sent our police officers, and that is an educational program, really sent us backwards, and most of our officers took severe cuts in their income. So I would like to suggest that we take a very hard look at that and see if we can do any restoration to that bill.
Point taken. Everybody hear the question? Yeah. The Quinn bill is, the Quinn bill has been hit hard, no doubt about it. And it's particularly complex, and that's a delicate term, in those communities where you have commitments in your collective bargaining agreements. We have filed some legislation that relieves the city and town of their obligation if the state doesn't keep its obligation. But not everybody. That's part of it. From a fiscal point of view, I want to get to the education point of view. But that doesn't really do anything for people who have for communities that have collective bargaining agreements. I understand that. I told you there are really hard choices in this budget, and that is one of them. Now, I do think that the objective of the Quinn bill of encouraging a higher level of education for police officers is a wise objective. And I think what we're trying to do is with some folks who represent police and some folks who represent the fiscal perspective to come up with some ideas about a follow-on program, but one that is about reimbursing officers for their education expenses rather than building it into their permanent base. And I think so. That's one way to think about an approach. But the fact of the matter is that if we choose, I mean all of us in the Commonwealth, choose to fully fund the Quinn bill, just like anything else, it's got to come from something else right now. And I keep putting the question to people: if not that, then what? What do you take it from? And that's usually where the conversation stops. So, just being real. Yeah.
Governor George Shippey from Selectman from Stockbridge. Nice to see you again. We have a problem in western Massachusetts that does not necessarily affect eastern Massachusetts, and that is the infestation of zebra mussels into the lakes and ponds of western Massachusetts. Presently, Laurel Lake and Lee, the Housatonic River in sections are infested with zebra mussels. Now, as you know, once zebra mussels get into the lake, the body of water, you never get rid of them. And it's a real problem as far as upsetting the natural ecology of the water. So What we need is some help from the state to have monitors at the boat ramps that would greatly aid in protecting the lakes before we have infestation from boats that come, particularly from the west, like New York State bodies. We also need regional boat washers to offer boaters. And I know, we certainly know that you have many important issues, but we are very concerned about our lakes and ponds and rivers in western Massachusetts. And so we could use your help.
I hear you. And we are trying to help. I think that the biology on the zebra mussel is not widely understood by the general public. Because, Laurel Lake is a problem, as you said, and parts of the Lusitania. But there are other lakes and ponds where the chemistry is such that the zebra mussel is not a threat. But people are worried about it because you can't get rid of it once it's there. Particularly if it's a water source, then they grow and they clog the pipes and the rest of it. So what we've been trying to work on is a series of monitors. I think the pushback we've gotten is that they're not on long enough hours. That their shifts are. If the boaters come out at 5 in the morning to go out and fish, and the shift doesn't start until 7 or something like that, that really doesn't really help. I've heard that. I'm talking to DCR about how we can cobble some things together to make that work. The boat wash, I first heard about at a town hall meeting over by the lake in Pittsfield. The idea of having these communal boat washes where you come and have to get scrubbed. And it's very hot water, I think.
You have to have 140-degree temperature.
Yeah.
We have one in Stockbridge presently, but we're all funding from volunteer efforts. We need some state funding if possible.
I hear you, and I will do what I can. But you know the truth of the matter is that there's not a room full of cash back at the State House. I think sometimes people think of that of the Recovery Act that way. And you just have to get me in a good mood, and then I will just listen. We are just really, at this point, it is trying to figure out which couple of pennies to move from here to there to hold it together. We will get through this. So let me just say I will do the best I can. Okay, thank you.